A ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
Hello again, I am back. I have made 3 other stitches because I've got plenty of spooky stories to share, but this one is going to be a continuation of my mother's house, which was built on top of an old plantation property that also used to be a pig farm, and it was also built next to a railroad that has since been abandoned and paved over. It is now a sidewalk behind our homes. My mother grew up with a guy that ended up being a psychic medium. He could see spirits as we're looking at each other right now. I know that sounds insane. That sounds creepy. Um, I met him when I was about 12 years old. I, being 12 years old, didn't even really believe it myself until there were certain things that he said that clicked and made a lot of sense as to what I was experiencing in my mom's house. So his name was Reverend Dave, and he's since passed away, unfortunately. But he goes into the rest of my mom's house, and he goes on about this woman inside my mother's house. Now, when he describes this woman, I go pale and I get goosebumps because, and mind you, I'm 12 years old at the time. So all of this is really freaky to me. And he basically goes on to say that this woman has really long black hair and she's wearing a dark colored dress in period clothing. So probably looking at somewhere maybe 1700s, early 1800s clothes. And she is native. She is indigenous. Um, Something did happen to her, he said, and I'm gonna get to that part, but I'm first gonna tell you why, when he described her, it freaked me out. Okay, so we moved into that house when I was about 5 years old, and I have a little sister, and we have both seen her before. Exactly how he described her. So when we would see her, it would always be at separate times. We never saw her at the same time, and it was usually at nighttime. My sister saw her way more than I did, and I don't know why. Don't know if there's an explanation for that, but she said she would go to bed at night, and when she would close her eyes, she was like, it was almost like her eyelids were see through because she closed her eyes to go to sleep. And it would almost be like she's in a dream state. And she said, it's almost like when you close your eyes and your eyelids would be see through because she's still seeing her room as if her eyes were open, but they weren't. And she can see this woman standing there in her room. And not only is she standing there, she's just really close. And she would always lean in and just stand there and watch her. There were so many nights where she would come run into my room because she was scared of this person or this ghost. And when I saw her, it was always like from a distance in my room, like in the corner of my room. Yeah, not fun. But I'm gonna get to the fact that her hair was always wet. You know The Grudge. I'm sure you all know The Grudge. Picture that, okay? Wet hair. Her hair is always wet and it's always covering her face. Like you can never see her whole face. Don't we could never tell what she looked like or her eye color or none of that, okay? Just straight up scary, especially to a child. So when he described to me what she looked like, that she had long dark hair and she had a dark dress on. Uh I goosebumps went pale. It freaked me out because like, oh my gosh, I've seen her before. And then, growing up as kids, we never brought this up to our parents because most parents are like, oh no, you didn't. Oh, you're just saying that. No. We never said that to our parents because we didn't want to be embarrassed. And then, so he's describing this woman, and then my mom goes, oh my gosh, I've seen her. Are you kidding me? All these years, we could have just told her. We could have told her we've seen this. And she probably, maybe she would have believed us. But the fact that my mother has seen the same woman is insane to me. Okay, so now he's going over what happened to her. And this is where it's okay. So he told us that she was purposefully drowned. She was purposefully drowned, which would explain why her hair always looked wet every time we saw her, and her hair was always covering her face. He explained that basically a summary of what happened to her is she was owned by a man that took advantage of her all the time. He was physically attracted to her, kept her for himself. She didn't love him. But she was in love with a slave that he had. And because he found out that she was in love with this man, another person, he drowned her. He offed her because he found that out. And then he went on to say that he said that they were trying to run away together. There was like a plan to get away. It's just insane to think about that someone could have the ability to like talk to a spirit like that and be able to know a story like that. But yeah, so that was the next spirit that is in my mother's house that we found out about.